Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Running Portal. My name is Monica Rose, and with me today I have Kathleen Hanley. I am super excited to have this guest on. She is a wife, an athlete, a business owner, and most recently a ultramarathon coach. So we have quite a bit to dive into today. So grab your favorite snack, your favorite beverage, and let's get this going. Welcome, Kathleen. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here.
So let's dive into you personally, you as an athlete, and then most recently here as a coach. And for those listening, if you're in search of a coach, her ideal people that she's looking for, if you've never done a 50K or you want to tackle the 200-mile distance, and there are some really cool 200 milers out there. She is definitely the person to message and to chat about that. So let's open up the floor to you.
Thanks, Monica. Yeah, so I guess I would call myself an ultra runner. It's always weird to call yourself that because you just do the things, but
Right?
I love the 200-mile distance. But I did only start running in college. And so I've been running for about 13 years and running ultras for about 8 years. I started with like a 5K distance, 13 years ago. I thought that was like amazing and it felt so good to be able to get that far because I started with like 30 seconds of being able to run and then out of breath and walking on the sidewalk and not knowing how I'd ever get to a mile. So it's an incredible journey, but I think in my heart, I love the ultra marathon distance. I love the 200-mile distance. I like being out there for a really long time and just kind of disconnecting from everything. And I know it sounds crazy to some people, but I just really enjoy being like lost in the woods. For hours. And really, my only goal is to get myself from one point to another. And I like connecting in nature in that way.
I think that's for the 200-mile distance. I think you almost have to go there. And it's kind of weird because my brain kind of glitches on that number. But like my favorites are like the 48 and the 72-hour type events. My brain is like, okay, great, we're going to do those. And I don't know why I hear 200 miles and it tends to kind of glitch a little bit. And I'm just like, well, in the realm of things, it's possible in a 72 hour. We saw that out at Jackalope Jam. They were putting up some big numbers this year, some of those runners, and doing so rucking. And I'm like, I don't have extra weight on me, and y'all are out there killing it. So, of the 200-mile distance, do you have a favorite? And then another question is, because it's kind of been going around the ultra circle, do you think that the 200 is now the new 100?
Yeah, that's a new phrase you hear a lot now, and
Yes.
I think probably around some 100 milers or established 100 milers, like they have started to get their feet into the 200s and it feels like the new thing. And I think a lot of us are like, well, I don't know the point in doing 100 now that I've done a 200. But I think it just depends if you really enjoy that distance, then you kind of feel that way where it's the new exciting thing. I think you've said you've done like 48, 72 hour. Really, when thinking about a 200, you're just thinking about like the days you'll be out there. So I need to do 55 to 60 miles a day for 3, 4 days. And it's really just about the time you're out there rather than the distance that makes it seem more feasible, I hope,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. And then my favorite 200, I was in love with Moab when I did it, and I just love the red dirt. And I think that's, a picture. I love the red dirt, and I was just so excited because it was so different. I grew up in Florida, live in Texas now. So it was just a very different landscape. And so I really enjoyed that. But then I did the Divide 200 in Canada, and like Canadian mountains are so different than what I've experienced in the US. And so I was just blown away. And I love how massive and magnificent those mountains feel. And so I don't know. I think I'd want to try something different if I did another 200. Like maybe Tahoe. I think that's supposed to be gorgeous out there. I paced and crewed my husband Jason at Bigfoot 200, and gosh, that is amazing. It's so beautiful out there. So really, I think you'll probably fall in love with anything. So, yeah, I'd probably just try something new if I was to do another one.
There's some that are out there, and it's I know like the Cocodona is a big one. I will preface if anybody's like, oh, 200s, you're gonna need to flex your wallet a little bit because they are a little bit more expensive, but you really on those I think you really do get what you're paying for. And then there's a lot of behind the scenes that runners don't worry about, like, the food and the permits and everything. So they're ensuring that, courses are safe and well marked, and that way you get to go out there and have a really great experience. So I know, I don't know whose video it was of Moab, but Moab, when I first saw it, was a little intimidating. So are the courses well marked for the 200s? Because he kind of panned with his camera, and it's just like this abyss of rock. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do you know, especially at nighttime? Because we all know at nighttime, if you turn your lights off and you just kind of stand, it is pitch black out there. And I can't imagine being on some of these sections for these 200s. Are they well marked? Did you feel that they were well marked?
Yeah, I you definitely need to use Gaia or a different navigation system when you're out there, and I think that's part of learning to do a 200. I have my maps open and check them often, because there's just no way you can flag as much as you would in a smaller Texas race.
Right.
Um, but they are well marked, and I thought Moab was very well marked. I thought the divide was not as well marked the first day, but the rest of the course, the rest of the days were, and I think they did make some improvements this year. But it did probably waste a lot of time for me on day one trying to find some of the flags and figure out which ways I was going up a mountain. But for the most part, they were flagged okay. So you do need to learn how to use navigation though.
Well, that's good. And if y'all are taking notes, she said she's looking to coach for 200. And if you're hearing some of these words and you're not sure what they are, here's a good example of why you need a coach, so that you can make sure that you have all of this good knowledge. So,
Yeah. And Monica, I did want to say, the 200s are expensive, and I think like my husband, he won't do any other race, so he's doing Cocodona 250 this year, but he doesn't have any other races on Ultra Sign Up. You'll see it. So it's kind of like, well, if I'm not spending a few hundred on four races throughout the year, I'm kind of saving it off for this. But
exactly.
it does get expensive, and that's why you see some people go and do this alone without crew and pacers. I can't imagine doing it that way yet. Maybe one day. But it does get expensive, so I do think like to acknowledge that if if I had all the money in the world, I'd love to do way more 200s, but it's not really in the budget right now. So
I can, that's something that I know, a Roadrunner friend and I, we were laughing because I remember what I used to spend when I still ran on roads. And I think we've been running about the same time. So I've been in ultras for about the last 7 years, but I think altogether I've been running about 13, 14 years. Um, and I go and look in my garage, and it is wild, all the stuff between like tent and canopy, because if it's raining, the last thing you want to do is get back to your roll and all your stuff is wet. And then it's extra shoes or poles, and it's just like, yeah, I was like, and you do one, to me, I think Meg Eckhart. Meg
yeah.
Eckhart. So she and I were friends, we were teammates, or both ambassadors for Honey Stinger. And I saw her doing all this trail stuff, and I reached out to her, and I was like, what's this trail stuff? It's like, I'm bored of the marathons. And so that's how I got to Habanero, got to the trails. And but it's like over 7 years, this accumulation of like different gear, and then you get like your favorite races. And so it, like you said, I think it really is a journey. And then I've noticed like here in Texas, you'll see a lot of the same runners at trot events or Tejas events or Blaze events. And so it almost makes it kind of like a family reunion with some of the people. So, and stepping from that into Wildsense specifically, y'all do a lot at these races, more than just, hey, here's our product. I mean, y'all are out there, at aid stations and athletes. So tell us a little bit about Wildsense, the products that you have. By the way, the chafing bomb was a lifesaver at Habanero last year. Thank y'all very much. It saved me because I got to an aid station. I was like, y'all have anything? And they were like, yes, yes, we do. So tell us a little bit about the products of Wildsense, and then some of the work that I've seen y'all do out at the races between helping at aid stations and then having your product out there for the athletes.
Yeah, so we created Wildsense to have natural products for runners, and we do chafing balm, we do recovery products like bath bombs, recovery lotions, CBD balms, and then we also have some natural loofah soaps, and we do chafing powder in addition to the chafing balm. Everything we've tried, we've developed, we've created for the ultra runner to last a long time. So we wanted a chafing balm that you wouldn't have to, be worried about reapplying every 20 miles, that it would last a really long time. And then the natural component was interesting to us because we wanted something that we could feel good about using on our bodies for a long time because we do these events and we run so often. And so that was really important for us when we thought about this. We also do a like natural spray called No Mosquito, and it's great for horseflies and mosquitoes
Oh, yes.
because being out in nature, we didn't want to be like spraying DEET on our bodies all the time. So like, is there a more natural thing that would work? And so we created like a smaller bottle that we could put in our pack, made of natural elements, and it's awesome because it kind of works like a plant. So you do have to reapply it every few hours, but we can feel better about using it. And so that's kind of how we developed Wild Sense and why we did. In terms of the community, I think Jason and I both have like big hearts and want to help. And so, if you have foot issues, he's like, I've got you. And he has this little blister kit for runners. And I'm getting better at doing blisters myself, but he's become the blister guy. People have asked him to be there for his 200s to just help with feet. And I think he's the kind of guy that like there's a problem, he has no issue with jumping on and in the trail and trying to find somebody or getting somebody the help they need. I think it's important to us to be part of that community. So for I think it was Rocky. The haters did the Luau themed aid
Yes,
station.
that was so fun.
And Regina, I captained that. And so to have an opportunity to give back, I also did that we did that at Bandera this year, which was at Camp Eagle, which was a cool experience. And I think it's just fun to be part of the community and give back in addition to having a company that does cater to runners. We're part of that community, and I think when you love it, kind of like you saw when you volunteered at the Hater aid station for Rocky, it's just easy. Like you just
Yes.
enjoy it, and it's not easy as in not hard work. It's like easy to give when it's something you enjoy so much and you can relate to the runners and you're like, okay, this is what I would want if I was out there running and tired and I know what you need. And so it's just great to be able to be part of that community. And I think whether if you're injured, it's a great to go volunteer because you're still part of that community and you're
Mhm.
valued. And sometimes we forget how much knowledge we have as runners. And if you're not running right now, it's a great idea to go out and volunteer some.
Yeah, and all the I know that Blaze does it. I know that Trot does it. Where if you volunteer, you get race credits, which is really nice. So especially if you're new to the trail world, it's a great way to step into the to a 50K distance. You get a little discount. I think you learn a lot. If you are new to trails, volunteering just so that you kind of get an idea. I know I've been putting in some serious volunteer time recovering from my surgery, but it's for me like the night shift was, I asked Regina, I was like, where's your hole? She's like, night shift. I'm like, I am there. I gotcha. And because it's fun, but I also know that, I mean, as well, that's when you get tired and I know at Rocky, I had to lovingly kick two people out of the aid station. I'm like, okay, you've been here for a minute. One was with his mom, and I was like, Mom, he's got to walk. I was like, we need him up and we need him moving. And so she was like, okay, I'll walk with them. I was like, great. So, but like you said, I think, it's, between coaching and then athlete and then you as a business owner, um, to me when it comes to the ultras you're either all in or you're all out. I haven't seen, even if you're not a coach, even the athletes, they're not haven't seen one that waffles. It's kind of like you do one and then you're like there's this whole community out here. And I've got some great road friends, but it's like my people are over there in the trail world. And that was with it, especially we just celebrated, women's, International Women's Day. And that was another reason why I wanted to reach, out to you, because you and Jason have developed this fantastic company that, it's good for us to use. It's safe on the environment, but then just you as an individual, both of y'all are so genuine when it comes to helping and it's authentic. And I don't think you see that with some business owners. I don't think you see that out there very much. And so it's really refreshing. And I know the runners benefit from it as well. So, speaking of runners, so Wildsense also has athletes. So tell us a little bit about who they are and how that came about.
Yeah, and thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that. And I'm trying, we're a year and a half into the business. I think June will be our second year anniversary, and I'm trying to embrace being a woman who owns a business. I think at first I kind of shied away from it and let Jason do his thing. And I'm being more vocal, and I'm glad you invited me on here because I went to an International Women's Day event on Saturday, and people were like, oh, I didn't know you owned Wildsense. And I'm like, I'm trying to be more vocal about that and step up as co-owner in the business. I don't think I come from like the sales side of things, so I hate like selling in a way.
Right.
But I love our product and what it does, and I love being able to be a businesswoman. So I'm trying to. This is my year to embrace that, I think. So thank you. In terms of the athletes we have, yeah. So we have a couple elite athletes and ambassadors. And so our ambassadors, a lot of them are based in Houston, but we're growing. We've got one in Pennsylvania right now. And what we've done to find our ambassadors is we've seen people who've just genuinely enjoyed our product and really thought it worked for them. And then we've seen people who are in their community, they give back. They help people. They're people that care and love each other and who want to do good. And maybe it's not like all their runs are not just focused on them, but what they want to give back to. And so we've just slowly, we're new, but we've slowly been like, this person, they seem to love our product and they're doing such good. We would love to have them as an ambassador, and so we've invited them. It's kind of been a slow process, but we've tried to make sure we find people that we feel like are doing good for the community and care. because genuine people, that's the kind of people that we want to represent our brand, not just about, how many social media followers you have. And maybe that's not to our benefit yet, but it's important to us that you don't have to have a huge social media background. It's just about who you are and what you're doing.
No, I think that that's the companies that last are the ones that are authentic and genuine. So outside of coaching, I have another business, and that business is 7 years old. And it's made it through COVID, it's made it through employees, it made it through when the gas prices jammed way up. Um,
That's
and
so amazing.
the number one feedback that I got and continue to get is that they're like, you're a true people person, and you don't charge when I know that you should have charged. And that was when I started that business, and it's the same with the coaching, was is that you have to remain human. I think as a business owner, if you lose your humanness, then what are you doing that business for? And that's just how, that's like you said, probably has cost me money. At the end of the day, I'm like, I'm okay with that because that person really needed help, and so I'm okay with that. To me, it's yes, you've got bills to pay and things to take care of, but you still need to be a good human, I think, just at the end of the day. So, but
Yeah, I love, yeah.
it's on so looking towards the future, does Wildsense, is there any new products that y'all might be bringing on? I know from the girly side, like I love the glitter, and one of these races, I'm going to remember to be timely because I want to look cute while I'm running and have some cool glitter. That is so fun. I was excited to see that come out. Is there any other is there new products coming out, and what do you think is probably like the favorite product among the runners that y'all got?
Yeah, I think it's hard because so many things seem to be favorites. I'll list a few. I think the chafing balm is definitely a big favorite, and then the recovery bath bomb is like just magical. I made a reel recently that was so silly, but about our bath bombs being magical because that's kind of how you feel when you finish like even a marathon and you're like all stiff and stuff, and you take a bath and it really helps those muscles relax. I was super excited about the glitter because I told Jason, I think we really need to do a glitter, but I want it to be earth friendly and biodegradable. And so we did launch the biodegradable earth friendly glitter, and it was really exciting to get to add that to our product line. Because it biodegrades, it's good for about 6 months, can extend the life if you put it in the fridge. But we wanted to do something that was better for the environment than just, regular glitter. So yeah, I love that we did that. I think we have some ideas. I don't think that there's anything that's coming like completely soon. But yeah, I do have some ideas that I'm thinking about. And there have been requests for more colors of glitter, so I'll see what I can do there too. Because the colorful glitters, people seem to really love that. I'm like a gold and silver, but I love green for Brazos, Bend especially like gator
Oh,
themed.
yes.
Yeah, I love to do that. But yeah, hopefully we'll have some new stuff soon. But yeah, I'll keep you posted.
That will be fun. I know for habanero, that'll be like kind of my return to like true racing. But I was like, I am gonna definitely have to make sure I get some glitter because that's gonna be kind of like party time for me. That'll be like right before the Barkley Fall Classic, and I'm like, I
Oh
don't
my
I don't know what Laz would think if I put glitter on my face.
God.
There, I know, like, so he has this cool rule, or not, it's not a rule, it's kind of like an unspoken thing that if you're a virgin to his races, especially the big dance, not so much the small one. Well, okay, correction. If nobody knows what the Barkley is, just Google it, you'll find it. The Fall Classic is no sneeze. I have absolute respect for that race. Um, but I'm gonna bring home some bluebonnet seeds, and I gotta find something else, Texas. So I don't know if he'll ever plant them, but I was like, I feel like that I need to do this. So but I was like, yeah, need to make habanero like a party. So and
Yeah.
I feel like the glitter does that. It just kind of gives you a little bit of a party feel. So um
I
but
mean, habanero is a tough one too. I think people outside of Texas, or actually anyone who hasn't done it, may not realize how hard of a race it is. But the fact that it starts at noon, it's the heat of the summer. I mean, temps are usually above 90 degrees, and then
yeah,
there's sand. It's just
much
a
sand.
challenging race. I paced Jason when he did habanero, and I think I did like 50 miles and wanted to cry at the end. It was rough.
It's that one's so fun. You would be surprised how many of us make that our first ultra, and I don't know why. Because I'll get out there, and the trick with that race is you don't race until the sun goes down. And even if you're by yourself, just hook up with a runner, and it never fails. I always find a couple of people. They're like, they were like me. It was their first ultra. You show up and you think you've done all the things right, and it only takes that first loop to realize, oh my gosh, I am over my head, and we're just gonna have to like buckle down and just like grind this out because everything you think that you did right, you didn't. And then, like you said, I think the biggest thing people don't realize is that there is not much shade. It's completely exposed. And because it's Texas, I can always tell when it's about like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon because the humidity kind of jams up and you're just kind of like, ah. So, and last year the temperatures were nice, meaning that I think our starting temp was only like 92, 93. So I was like, okay, this is nice. This is nice.
Yeah,
So
I did the relay last year, and I mean, even the relay was hard.
it's to me, I like it in that it teaches you how to pace. And I think if you're doing javelina, if you're doing Moab, if you're doing Cocodona, I think it's a great race because it teaches you how to like pace yourself, and then how to manage the heat and the sun on a small scale, meaning that the loops are about like 6.2-ish. And so it's a great race to kind of figure out for those races what works, even though in Arizona, it's a dry heat. They don't have the humidity, but those races are still exposed. And I think that a race like Habanero gets you ready for those types of races because you're out there in the element, and but you can kind of play around with it by the time you get to one of those. So, but
Yeah.
so with some of the time that we have left, what is on your race schedule for this year? Do you have any races this year?
Yeah, so and this coming weekend, I'm pacing a friend at Rabid Raccoon. I kind of joked that last year was my year of pacing because I paced a lot, but I'm also pacing some this year. But in June, I am doing two races. Weekends are back to back.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
doing, yeah, Broken Arrow 46K. So that's near Tahoe, and then I'm doing the Copper Kings 100, the new race by West Plate.
Yes.
The following weekend. My friend David will be out there racing as well, the 100. So I'm excited about that. And then I think Wildsense will also be out helping sponsor Copper Kings. So we're really excited to be back, part of that as a runner and a sponsor.
Oh, that's going to be really great. Yeah, if West Plate guys, look him up on YouTube. He does a lot of the 200 races. That seems to kind of be like his playground. So I was excited when I saw that he has created a race now. So I feel like that's going to be very well put on because he has a lot of experience. So I was excited to see him take on the race director role and do this. So I'm excited to hear how that one comes out because I know people are pretty stoked about that. So
Yeah, and it just sold out, but there is a wait list. And the cool thing about it is there's a 40-hour cutoff, and that's meant for inclusivity rather than difficulty. So I think if you do have 100 you want to do in June in Montana, that's definitely one to put your name on the wait list for.
I will have to do that one next year. Like I said, this surgery kind of like rearranged a bunch of my stuff, so I was like, well, embrace it. And then I saw that new race came out, and I was like, man. So, with the time that we have left, I have some fun, quick questions.
Okay.
So what's your favorite gear to have, either in a race or on in training?
Yeah, my favorite gear. I love my Lucky poles. I use poles a lot. I love poles. I don't really care what anyone says. If I'm going to the mountains, I'm using poles because I live in Houston, Texas, and it's flat. Like
Right?
you can run with 5 feet of gain, maybe. So I love the Lucky poles because the gloves fit really well into the poles, and you can snap in and snap out. And my CBD balm, I also just love that to put like, especially on my feet if I'm doing like a 200 and want to rest. I'll put that on before I take a nap. So those are my two favorite.
That's nice. What's your favorite trail food, race food? What's your go-to?
Yeah, I don't know. I used to be vegetarian. I eat meat now. In 200s, I'll eat a burger because it fills me up. I can't say like, oh, I would love a burger. It's more so like, okay, this is what they have. I'll eat it. It fills me up. I'll really just be flexible and eat what they have. I think Nerds clusters or like fun candy. I've recently went to a gas station and I saw like new candy flavors, and so I'm like, when I go to races from now on, I'm stopping at the gas station and getting like new themes of candy that I haven't tried to keep things fun. But Nerds, the gummy clusters are definitely like a fun one to early on get calories in. But as time goes, I feel like I like salty more, so I'll take whatever hot salty food is being cooked.
Can't tell you how many runners stop at a gas station and get excited because they see like the new like flavor of the candy that they use in races. That's too funny. So, well, Kathleen, this has been so much fun. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about yourself as an athlete and Wild Sense. And we wish you the best of luck in your upcoming races. And we can't wait to hear more about them.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I loved being on and getting to talk with you.
Thank you.